Hello everyone, it's Karina with Karina Loves to Plan. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a little bit of an ink exploration, but not necessarily with any particular color family. What I am going to be doing is testing out the Wearingeul Wonderful Wizard of Oz Heart. So this is glitter potion that I am going to test out in several, I say several, but 8 different inks. So I have chosen 3 Pilot of Shizuku, 3 Diamine, 1 Sailor, and my Teranishi Opera Rose. So I'm going to test these shimmer or these glitter potion particles in them and seeing what they look like. Let's get started. So in terms of the materials, I have here my A5 Galen leather notebook with 52 GSM Tomoya River paper. I've got my little palette mixer here, and what I'm going to be using are some pipettes that I got from Amazon, and I've got 2 jars of water here, one with warm water, one with cold water. I've got my Kakimori Brass Dip Nib. I also have, if you're not familiar with these are speedball nibs that I got off of Amazon, and this is I got the whole B set, and the B set has the round nib there, which I can use for smaller circles. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a circle swatch of the main ink color, then I'll do a swatch with the Heart Glimmer Potion, and then do a little bit of a writing sample with the glitter potion with my brass nib. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually just take a little bit. I'm trying it first with Pilot of Shizuku Ina Ho, taking a little bit onto my nib here, and I'm wondering if I have 8 of each, so I have quite a bit of room to play with. And I love this ink. So that is what the base color looks like. Now I'm going to add some of that shimmer. So this is what the bottle of shimmer looks like, and I'm going to take just a tiny bit. Oop. So it actually comes plugged like this to prevent spillage, which I think is a great idea. But now all of the shimmer has gone to the bottom while I was doing that. So I'm going to actually just see if I can mix it a little bit. Okay, so now that has been mixed, I'm going to actually put some into here, but I think it actually gets a little bit clogged. Yeah, it did. There's like a big piece there that got clogged. So putting a couple of drops into that mix, and then mixing it around with my Kakimori Brass Nib and seeing what it looks like. Like, you can't see much in the mix itself, but I want to see what adding shimmer does, or if I need to add more to that. And see what that looks like overall. Can't see much yet, but hopefully once I put it on this brass nib, you can see. So this is Pilot of Shizuku Ina Ho, and I really can't see much in there, unfortunately, but let's see if there's anything that we can do in the writing sample. Let's see if I can get some in the nip width. And there we go. We'll just wait for that to dry, and then I'll show you what these all look like at the end. But so far, not seeing much in here. I'm wondering if I didn't put enough, but there is a little bit of shimmer coming through in there. The next ink we're going to try is Pilot of Shizuku Shinkai, and I chose this because I wanted to see if this would come out in a darker blue ink. So let's give that a try. This is the base color, and this is what it would look like just on its own. And then I'm going to show you what it looks like once I've added the shimmer. I'm actually a really big fan of that. I really like that you can see that there is shimmer in there, and even in the writing sample it does stand out a little bit. Like, I'm loving that swatch. You don't see it as much by the time I get to the different line widths, but it could be just the inconsistency in shimmer inks in general. But I think what worked in this particular sample was that I added more of that shimmer, so maybe that is the key, is I do have to just add a little bit more to get the effect that I want. But that is Pilot Shizuku Shinkai with Heart. The next one I am testing is Pilot Shizuku Shinryoku, and this is a beautiful, beautiful green. So I'll show you here the swatch on its own without any shimmer. Gorgeous, gorgeous green. Then I'm going to go ahead and add the shimmer to it. So now that I've added the shimmer to it, wow. This one, the shimmer is more prevalent, but the shimmer looks green. It doesn't look pink anymore, which I really wanted the pink to stand out, but now I'm gonna put some on my brass nib and see what that looks like. So this with the floral, I think so far my favorite is with Shinkai. And so this is Pilot Shizuku Shinryoku, and you don't see as much shimmer here, but maybe it's because I didn't put enough. Let's add some more. I mean, they do recommend that in terms of quantities, you're doing like a 1 to 10 ratio. So, you know, if you got 10 mils of an ink, you want to put 1 mil of this glitter potion. So I'm still working out the correct quantities, but so far I'm not seeing as much shimmer in Shinryoku as I am with Shinkai. But so far, really happy actually with the Heart Glitter Potion. So let's move on to Diamine inks. The first Diamine ink I'm going to test is Diamine Red Dragon. So when I chose these inks, I wanted you know, a varied selection of brands, but also a varied selection of colors. So the Red Dragon, if you couldn't tell by the name, is a red ink. And I like this ink because it's like your good regular red, if I can call it that. And then adding a few drops. So let's add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for good measure, and swirl that around and see what we get. Now, because it's a red ink, I'm not sure if I'll get a ton, but you can see the shimmer just even in that swirl or that circle. So now let's try it with my brass dip pen. Not seeing as much shimmer, but maybe because it is a red ink. So Diamine Red Dragon. One of the things that I am noticing though is that it's not really affecting the flow too much of the ink from the nib. So let's dip a little bit more before I do the different line widths. Nope, make that a little thicker. Okay, so I can actually see the shimmer quite prevalent in the writing sample, and now I can see it more in that circle swatch. I actually really like it in Diamine Red Dragon. I feel like it enhances the red. It reminds me a little bit more of Ferris Wheel Press Cabernet on the Lake, and I really like that combination. So let's move to the other page and test the other two Diamine inks. So the next Diamine ink I am testing is Amazing Amethyst, and I'll show you here quickly just how beautiful this purple ink is. I really, really like this purple ink. It's got beautiful shading properties, but I am noticing that this B nib doesn't show off the shading properties as much as I would like it to. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add 5 drops here. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, so here is how the ink looks with the shimmer added. Doesn't look like a lot at the beginning. Oops, my circle is off. Okay, can't see much at the beginning, but let's do the writing sample with that Kakimori Brass Nib and see. So this is Diamine, Amazing Amethyst. Oops. And so far not seeing a lot on this or with this particular ink, but I always say wait for it to dry. It's like weather in Canada. Wait 5 minutes if you're not happy with the weather. Wait 5 minutes. Oh, I really like this purple. So we'll wait for that to dry and see what the shimmer looks like in there. But I think the thing with this particular shimmer particle or shimmer property is that you do have to play around with the quantities. So that's Diamine Amazing Amethyst. The next one I'm trying is Diamine Earl Grey. I actually finished my whole sample of Diamine Earl Grey to do this, but that is okay. So taking a little bit here and just showing you what Diamine Earl Grey looks like. I really like this particular gray because it's got beautiful shading properties, and in some instances it kind of has a bit of chromo shading, which is fun as well. But it's also one of those inks where if you don't want to just go with a black, it's a really good option. So now I've added a few drops of the heart to Diamine Earl Grey, and I'm adding drops using a blunt tip syringe. However, there are instances where the shimmer is going to get stuck at the bottom of the bottle. If it's going to do that, then it's definitely going to get stuck in there. So just a future warning for anybody who decides to do that with the blunt tip syringe. Going ahead, and you can see actually it's gorgeous with Diamine Earl Grey. The pink with the gray, I love this combination already, and I'm kind of sad that I have no more Diamine Earl Grey after this. It's pretty. Oh my goodness. So that might mean I have to buy another sample or a small bottle of Diamine Earl Grey just to be able to have this beautiful combination. So far, my favorite. Diamine Earl Grey with the Heart Glitter Potion. Just look at that. It is stunning. So next we move on to my Sailor ink and then Teranishi Opera Rose. The next ink I'm trying is Sailor Manyo Shirakashi, and this is a lovely brown ink that I got with my Sailor Manyo nuts. So I'll show you what this looks like without the shimmer. And it goes on kind of green, but then I believe it does also dry a bit more brown. So this will be interesting. I'm gonna add a couple drops of the Heart Potion. So here it is with the Glitter Potion. And I wanted to try this with different inks because different brands may have different properties. Funny enough, I'm realizing that I'm not actually trying it out with a Wearingeul ink at the moment, but I do like that combination. Now it reminds me of Dominant Industry Autumn Forest, but I think Autumn Forest is a little bit more of an olivey type of green. So let's do a writing sample as well as my floral. And I haven't used this ink as much as I should have. It is a gorgeous ink, but I think with the shimmer, it is lovely. It does remind me of Dominant Industry Autumn Forest now that I look at it. And if you see dots of the glitter potion here, it is because I did accidentally get some of the glitter potion splatter around the page. All right, so that is Sailor Manyo Shirakashi, and you can see how it's drying a little bit. You don't see as much here because I think by that point you don't know how much is there, but I'm sorry, I'm so distracted by Earl Grey because I did put a lot in there. So there is a lot of shimmer in that, but I love the way that it looks. It looks almost purple now. And this is drying really, really beautifully. So let's try one more ink, and then I think we're done with experimentation. The last ink I'm trying is Teranishi Opera Rose, and I chose this one because this is one of my favorite inks, and I wanted to see what one of my favorite inks would react like. But also this one is kind of a more orangey coral, dusty pink, and I wanted to see what the combination of the two would look like. So let me add a little bit more here. See if you can't see some of that shading property. So I'll add a few drops of the glitter potion. So let's go ahead and try and see what it looks like. I did add, I think I added a bit more than I intended to. It came out of the blend tip syringe more than I had intended it to, but I don't mind that. That looks so shiny and sparkly and lovely, and I cannot wait to see what it's going to look like in the writing sample. Oh gosh, beautiful. I really love the base color of this, and this ink actually performs beautifully in my fine and extra fine nibs. Now that's the other thing that I'm going to be concerned about as I try these in my pens, is how will it be in my fine and extra fine nibs. But I don't shy away from using shimmer inks in my fine or extra fine nibs because those are all that I really write with, and you know, why deprive myself of that experience? Oh gosh, that is gorgeous. I really like that. Okay, now I'm going to say this, I feel like this is a caveat that I need to make, is that my measurements during this haven't been completely exact, and this is more of just a tester to see how this glitter potion works. And I highly recommend, actually, if you are interested in trying something out like this and not committing to one bottle of a glitter or a shimmer ink and then trying out shimmer with different inks that you currently own, you know, I think actually for 10 mils, I'm gonna post the price here on the page here. I got this from, I believe PenChalet, but you can get this from any other retailer as well. But it's a great way to add shimmer to your current collection of inks without having to commit to a whole bottle of shimmer ink if you're not into that. But it's a great way to experiment as well. So let's look at all of these inks now that they're dry. So I'm just gonna do a quick close-up of all of these inks. So here we have Pilot Iroshizuku Inaho. So here you can see what the ink looks like without any shimmer, there with the shimmer, and then the writing sample. Now, I added maybe 3 drops to a very small amount of Inaho, but I think this would just be such a fun ink to play with and to write with. Now, looking at the different line widths, there's not a lot of shimmer that ended up here, but you can really see it in the heart and in the letter P. I really like that. Then we have Pilot Shizuku Shinkai, and I think I went a little bit heavy-handed with the shimmer in this one. So this is the base color. That is the color with the explosive amount of shimmer that I put in there, which is awesome. And then you don't see it a lot actually in the bigger line widths. You see it pooling here, but then you really see it in the kind of finer line width there. But I really, really do like that. Then I decided to try and tone it down a bit with Pilot Shizuku Shin Ryoku, and there's, I think, a little bit of rub off of the shimmer in there, but this is what it looks like with the shimmer added. It's funny because in this circle swatch, the shimmer looks silver, but it is actually a rose gold glitter or rose gold shimmer. And then when you see it here in the flower and the writing sample, you can see that rose gold or that pink coming out a bit more. But then in the line width, it looks more silver than it does the rose gold. So shimmer though in that ink is really pretty. If you're not a fan of shimmer inks, and I am sorry for this whole video because it's very shimmer heavy, but it gives you an idea of what some of these inks would look like if they were transformed by glitter, by shimmer. And then we have Diamine Red Dragon, and wow, I really like the combination of these two. And I mean, Diamine already has amazing inks, but really this type of glitter potion is for the current ink collection that you may have, or to try and test things out. So if you don't want to, buy more inks, this is a great way to just test out shimmer with what you have. But I really like the effect of the shimmer with Red Dragon. I think it just brings that out. It reminds me a little bit of, like I said, Ferris Wheel Press Cabernet on the Lake, and I really love that combination. Then we move on to Diamine Amazing Amethyst. In the video it looks much darker, but it is a really, really pretty purple. And then with the shimmer, I think the two together, I'm gonna remove the paper clip, the two together is a really lovely combination. I think the two actually complement each other really, really well. You don't see as much of the shimmer in the line width here, but I think just in a regular everyday writing sample, you can see it there. It's stunning, really, really beautiful. Then Earl Grey. I didn't have a lot of this ink sample to begin with, so this is what it looks like without shimmer, then the explosion of shimmer, and the writing sample. I actually really like the gray with the pink shimmer. Probably maybe one of my top two out of this whole experiment. And I don't know, let me know what you guys think. It might be just a little bit too much shimmer, so maybe next time, once I have another gray ink to try this out with, maybe less shimmer, but I think you can see what the maximum effect could be with that. Then we have Sailor Manyo Shirakashi. This is what the base color would look like. Does remind me a little bit of Dominant Industry Autumn Forest with that shimmer and that shade of kind of brownish green. But again, the effect is really, really lovely. This is the thing that I wanted to try the reason I wanted to try this out with different brands of inks as well, is to see if there was any weird reaction. And from the small sample that I took, there didn't seem to really be any weird reactions with any of the inks, so it looks very, very promising. And then lastly, we have Teranishi Opera Rose. Beautiful color, even without the shimmer, but then with the shimmer, I am in love with that. Absolutely in love with that. I did add a lot to this one, so I think if I were to use this in a pen, I'd probably lower the concentration of shimmer, but I think just the two together are fantastic. Absolutely, absolutely beautiful. So there is my ink exploration using the Wearingeul Heart Glitter Potion. There are a variety of these available either in gold or silver. I think there's even blue and red shimmer. So this is a great way to experiment if you are one of those people who just wants to try and experiment with what you've got. I think another thing would be great is, because I also have the Pannonia Amarillo stationery inks that are mixable, and then adding this to that would just create a huge selection of different color inks. So something like this can definitely widen the collection that you currently have without having to invest in different samples or even different ink bottles. So highly recommend this. I actually really, really like it. Now, like I said, this isn't the most scientific of explorations or experiments because I haven't properly put this into a pen. So Again, just as a caveat, just be careful of what you are putting into your pens. If you want to experiment with this, I would probably try first put this into a pen that is easy to clean out and then go from there. All right, but that is it for me. Thank you all so much for watching. What did you think of my little experiment today? And is this something that you would try? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. And if you are interested in this, this is available at Atlas Stationers, where you can use the code Karina10 for 10% off, or you can purchase it at PenChalet, where I also have an affiliate link down in the description below. Thanks again and have yourselves a great day.